Guys, just while like my iPad's warming up with notes because I turned it off for a little bit, look what I just got from Disney Store. Look at them. Look how pretty they are. Ah, look. So they're like the new Nightmare baubles. They're so shimmery and pretty. And I'm not going to use them on a tree, right? I'm going to show you some of the room. So all of my baubles from last year's Nightmare collection hang on that string of lights. So they're like all going to join that. This isn't going to be a let's go shopping with me, but the iPad's warming up. Look, the Nightmare socks in the bauble. I'm going to keep the bauble. The bauble is just amazing. Can you see me like spray painting this and making something creepy out of it? Because I can. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, creepy friends. What in the God's name hell was that? That was absolutely terrible, but I don't mind. Like, do you know what? It's really nice to actually be in clothes for you guys for once. Because normally I'm just in like top and bottoms and I'm getting ready to go to work. But today I'm actually in a nice dress. I'm actually in clothes. It's really nice. It's really nice. You don't know. I just feel colourful now. I mean, I'm generally quite vintage style anyway, but I feel really nice today on this video, considering the fact that I've just run around my local shopping centre like a loony because I'm being picked up in an hour. So today's episode of Thunderbirds Are Go, which is what we are here for. I've not even introduced that. That's how frazzled my mind is. Was Grandma Tourismo. And I was a little bit indifferent when I read the bio on this for this week's one. It kind of, and I watched obviously the clip that they released during the week. Stop yelling at me, iPad. I was a little bit indifferent about it because I didn't know how I'd feel about Grandma Tracy kind of being so involved. We didn't really see Grandma Tracy that involved in the original, so it's kind of a little bit of a, how do I feel? But actually it wasn't too bad. So John's wishing Virgil good luck at the start of the episode, and I kind of guessed before they even landed what it was. She'd taken him shopping, or he'd taken her shopping, one of the two. I think he took her shopping, but once there, she took him shopping. Love the kind of new age supermarkets of driving round on the mall. That was just Pride of Funky. And then midway through doing it, when there's a distress call comes out, there's a sandstorm, collapse, rock slide, you've got workers trapped, so they have to just kind of throw it on their account. They kind of left the store without paying, did I notice that? And they went straight off to the danger site, but once there, they then receive another one. So Grandma Tracy says, you stay here, I'll deal with that one. What? You're not a Thunderbird? You're not a Tracy brother, you're a Tracy grandmother. That seems a bit mean. But it's just not what we've seen before. It's original Grandma Tracy would never get involved in the missions like that. Although, let's face it, let's go back to my personal favourite one, Moving You're Dead, where she did need rescuing along with Alan. So basically, Virgil can autopilot the Thunderbird 2. The Thunderbird 2 can autopilot Thunderbird 2 from his cool little funky gear. I love Virgil's mechanic gear. I think it's really fun. You know that. So he goes off and she gets in the ship, but once in the ship it's clear, or once she's at the danger site she's going to, she can't necessarily leave it all to autopilot. At the time she has to call up Virgil while he's midway saving the 3 people at the quarry. So Virgil does as much as he can. He helps land the craft when it can't land itself because of the sandstorm that Grandma Tracy's at. But he basically, poor old Virgil basically spends the whole episode remote piloting Grandma Tracy, as well as trying to save these 3 quarry workers who are thankfully quite understanding, or he's like, I've just got to do this, I've just got to do this. They're like, go on, get on with it. But eventually, of course, that does come back to bite him in the bum, because they need to leave, but Grandma Tracy needs remote piloting, but after he's remote piloted, there's now not enough time for them to get out. So after surrendering time, there's nothing else he can do but hunker down in the place that they're stuck in and wait the storm out. But of course, that's not going to be enough. As they all get there, he has to put up his arm and hold it up to stop themselves basically getting squashed and imploded. So the only thing Grandma Tracy can now do is fly Thunderbird 2 herself, which has never been seen or thought of before. When she initially said that, I was like, I'm not sure. But then she kind of raised a good point. She was like, I taught Jeff to fly, and I'm now in this for all of you. So I was like, actually, yeah, I kind of like that about her. Basically, this whole episode with Grandma Tracy reminded me of my own nan, I have to be honest, because my nan in kind of futuristic modern day world, I think would be a lot like Grandma Tracy. My nan's we call my nan modern grandma. Gangster grandma is the one thing we call her. So Grandma has to fly Thunderbird 2 back to where Virgil is on her own, which was pretty cool, though she's using the girl she saved, I think her name was Katie's help. I have to be honest, when she got on board the ship, I was half convinced it was going to be the Hood in disguise and he was going to nick Thunderbird too. I was absolutely just sitting there going, this is just too easy, what's going on, what's really going on? I was so convinced it was not going to go down well, but it was all fine. She was a real person, she was a real girl, not just the Hood with his cool little disguise thingy. So just as Virgil's obviously got his mask on, so he's fine for oxygen, but the workers are running out of air, and Grandma Tracy arrives just in time. She then mobilises the mole, digs under the sand, gets in, gets them all out again, and everything's all cool and fine. She rescues everybody single-handedly. It was the mole she was using, right? Sometimes I get that wrong. And of course, in the end, once they land, they drop Katie and all the workers off. Katie's now sold some hats that she was doing because they filter air and whatnot. They're pretty cool new age hats, actually. Probably not so fashionable for me. Grandma then turns to Virgil and says, we're not done, we're going back, we didn't finish our shopping. I knew the episode was going to end like that. As soon as they started it, I was like, this is so going to end this way. I just knew it. So considering the fact that I was really fence bound on this, it wasn't a bad episode. It wasn't my favourite, but it probably wasn't as good as Reptiles last week, because let's face it, nothing's going to beat that for a very long time now. Again, you guys know I always have to be a little bit critical of this. Why did Virgil need to go into a shopping centre in all-out Thunderbirds wear with Thunderbird 2 for just a personal, everyday civilian shopping trip? Little bit of a plot hole there. Plus, let's think back to original Thunderbirds, where it's meant to be all secrets and cloaks and daggers. No one's meant to know who anybody is. He also says his whole name at one point in this episode. I was sitting there going, okay, we kind of know that they're not as... This version of Thunderbirds isn't as into secrecy, because they know with modern day phones, technology, cameras, operations, hacking, it would just be way too easy on some level to find out who everybody running International Rescue was. I think they've accepted that fate, that it wouldn't be very easy to control that way. But yeah, it kind of... I didn't get why he needed to be in full riot gear. Did anybody else? I did love the little dig at Scott. We had a little dig about Virgil the other week with the hairdryer. This week it's about Scott and his hair products and it being all shiny and perfect. I liked that. It always adds just a bit of a fun frolic to it, and especially for the adults, I think. And of course they had to mention the rack of onesies. I did think that was a little bit of a joke to some of us who perhaps don't like the onesie. Ironically enough, I was having a talk with a guy on Twitter about it. We've been joking about that onesie for a couple of days now, and you guys know I've never been a fan of the onesie, and suddenly, in 2 weeks, they've given me a rack of onesies as if to say, haha, and the week before they did Attack of the Alligators and Attack of the Reptiles. Is someone watching my channel up here? I have always wondered what would happen if there were multiple distress calls at once, and I think it's something that perhaps they should revisit and do in another episode. It always seems kind of too good to be true, per se, that everyone could be doing everything at once. That everybody could be at one rescue at once. There has to be more than one person needing rescuing at one time in the world. So it was a pretty cool idea to see that everyone would need to be in different places at once. Also kind of cool to see the remote action on Thunderbird 2, because that was obviously something that this version's given us that the original didn't have. One thing I think was really, really positive about this episode was they give Grandma Tracy a bit more relevance. I'm going to say they made her a bit more relevant as a character, and not only that, as a person. I think when people have children and then grandchildren, certainly where women are concerned, it kind of automatically becomes all about those younger people, and you kind of get pushed to the back. And we've never ever known, for example, Grandma Tracy's name. I don't know if she ever had a name in the original. I certainly don't remember it. You learn about her backstory, how she taught Jeff to fly, how she was a traveller going out in a plane until she met Jeff's dad, who we don't know. It was really nice to hear that, and I'd never even thought of her or looked at her in that way before. I think it would have been really, really sweet if we'd had a little shot to Virgil kind of doing a cute smile, like when she's talking about, you know, raising Jeff and then now helping with the boys with Thunderbirds and International Rescue. I think it would have been really sweet if he would have overheard that, because he does at one point say, I heard that, Grandma. I think it would have been lovely if there'd just been a little shot to his face kind of going, aww, because I think everybody listened to that, or certainly I did, and went, oh, that's kind of cute and it's sweet. It did make her kind of, it made me feel a little bit closer to her as a person, I guess I can say. Really nice idea to do that. And she's called Sally. I don't know if that was her actual name. You guys are going to have to help me out now, whether they just decided to give her one, or whether the name Sally has relevance to something. It always has relevance to something. I did love Virgil's one-liner of, "My grandma's coming to get us." I saw the line coming and everyone's sitting there going, huh? It was a nice, fun little episode. I cannot remember what's coming next week. I did look at the TV guide, but I've kind of forgotten. And I've now been pushed back another half hour, so that's all fine and dandy for me. It was a fine episode. That's where we'll stop with it. It was just, you know what the main point of this, and I just talked about it, was to see Grandma Tracy in another light. That was a nice one. But please, for God's sake, guys, put her in a different outfit. Thank you everyone for being here and watching this impromptu episode of Thunderbirds. Thankfully on the day when it's broadcast and not a couple of days later. I would love to be able to do it for you guys on this day every week, but it's not always possible. I do my very, very best for you. I know it was extremely delayed this week because of the bed situation. It is still missing. I have to wait until like the middle of November for them to sort the floorboard out down here. So I'll just give you a little bit more information about that because I did actually peel back the carpet and look. So essentially the floorboard is splintered and it's kind of broken. So every night when I go to bed I lay there and think, am I going to end up with my floor hanging through the ceiling in the morning? And if I missed anything in this episode, do let me know. If there was anything you saw that I didn't, let me know. I'm looking forward to the rest of the series. I feel like this series, the first part of this series, I really lost my way a little bit with it. I kind of lost my passion for it. I lost my feel for it. And this series has kind of kicked me right back into the park of loving it again. I don't know why I felt kind of so negatively about it in the last series, but I do. I've really gone right back to it this season, or this part of the series, and just really been in touch with it. They're really doing great jobs, and I'm kind of glad that I've waited this long for episodes of this caliber. If you ever make Moving Your Dead an actual TBAG episode, Nixie wants to be involved. Because we all know I have kind of meddled in writing my own Thunderbirds episode. I have a creative novelist brain, guys. I'm going to do something like that. I created a character in Lost once, okay? I'm kind of sad like that. But yeah, if that's ever a thing and someone out there is actually involved with the real Thunderbirds, I'll go, Nixie wants to be involved in Moving Your Dead. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do what you want. Don't get mean on the channel. Always the rule. And now I'll see everyone again.